Fantasy Football Almost Daily with your hosts, Paul Charchian, Christian Peterson, Matt Harrison, and Brian Johnson.
Phlegmy edition of Fantasy Football Almost Daily. It's the Tuesday free agency edition. Isn't that an enticing way to start? I'm Paul Charchian. I'm sick. He's not sick. He's healthy. That's Christian Peterson. And presumably, Brian, you are also healthy?
Yes, but I guess I'll be calling in sick tomorrow, it sounds like.
Why? Do you think I'm going to spread it?
Well,
I don't know.
Now that we're in this enclosed room with nowhere to go.
You might get it.
With these
let's keep this one short.
We're going to keep this one short because nobody wants to hear me clearing my throat, hawking loogies, coughing. So we'll keep this short. Let's start at the quarterback position. There's not a lot to talk about here. But Jay Cutler, we mentioned last week, and just want to re-highlight, easy schedule the rest of the way. He will probably have a starting grade from me in all of the rest of the games of this year. It's Tampa, the Giants, Tennessee, San Francisco, Detroit, Green Bay, Washington. So just no stoppers on there. If you're in a two-quarterback league or you just want to back up your quarterback with a guy that is going to get you 240 yards and one or two touchdowns, that's Jay Cutler.
Yeah, well, I think you just touched on it, that the upside is going to be pretty limited with Jay Cutler, so you're not going to want to ditch some other premium fantasy guy in favor of Cutler. But yeah, maybe in two quarterback or super flex leagues, because of the schedule alone, he's worth a look.
Well, off the top of my head, I know Luck has a bye this week, and Stafford. Those are two starters in every league, so those two guys. Cutler's a good guy if you're one of their owners. So
even for this week at Tampa Bay, is very favorable. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the running back position. Plenty of guys to talk about here. Let's start with Rob Kelly. He was the Washington starting running back in the London game before the bye. A lot of people just didn't pick him up then at all. And then the bye week, he got cut in a lot of leagues. His availability is around 50%. Rob Kelly, it's a rotation of guys, but he's the top back. And Matt Jones has done nothing to deserve any kind of real consideration for the Redskins, right?
Well, I don't think he was that bad before the injury, was he? He lost a couple fumbles.
Well, it was the fumbles.
I mean, he wasn't great, but then the fumbling was the main issue.
Well, he takes a step forward and two steps back every time, it seems like. He does a great game, then the next game he just totally wets the bed. So
yeah, so to me, I'm not that interested in Rob Kelly because I think Matt Jones is still going to be involved.
Right.
Either way, I don't think Rob Kelly is a talented enough player to just put Matt Jones in the rearview mirror. So, unfortunately, for anybody who foolishly invested in this backfield from the start, I don't know if we're going to get much clarity for the rest of the year.
But how about this? We know what Matt Jones is, and that is a really non-serviceable starting running back. What we don't know is that maybe Rob Kelly it might turn out is really pretty good. I mean, we're only a handful of games in carries into showing what he can do at the NFL level. There's a scenario here. Rob Kelly just is a lot better than Matt Jones and ends up running away with the job at some point.
It could be true. When we brought up Kelly a couple of weeks ago going into the bye, we said, he's got his bye and then just an awful schedule, right?
Yeah, it's Vikings this week. Yeah.
And Trent Williams, their left tackle, is now suspended, so that dings their line big time. So
big time. He's one of the three best left tackles in football. It's a huge loss.
So you certainly want to add Kelly, but I wouldn't break the bank for him. That's what we said a couple weeks ago. So
while we're talking about the Vikings, Adrian Peterson is going to be eligible to come off of IR in 2 weeks. Excuse me. The positive side of it is that it's Adrian Peterson and he's coming back. The downside, though, is the Vikings may not choose to bring him back for a few reasons. One, they need to bring back Matt Khalil. If they, you can only bring one guy off of injured reserve, right? Early. Early. You take him off injured reserve. Only one. Matt Khalil is coming up in a couple of weeks. He might be viewed as a much more important guy to bring back than Adrian Peterson.
He probably is. Yeah.
And then the other concern is, even if you bring back Adrian, what's to say he's going to be successful running behind this offensive line that he looked terrible with in 2 games before the injury?
Yeah, I think that's the key to me, is that I don't know that there's anybody that could get anything going behind this offensive line right now. I hadn't even thought about the Khalil angle, but that's a more intriguing angle as well, because it feels like the Vikings are in more desperate straits along their offensive line than they are at running back. Neither situation is great, but a lot of people are asking about Adrian Peterson. On name recognition alone, should I go out and get him? And again, maybe yes if you have a roster spot at the end of your bench, but I wouldn't break the bank either.
I've only got a 10% blind bidding recommendation on Adrian, and I don't know that I'd go higher than that. A lot of people are going to be looking at Duwan Harris, but the problem here is Carlos Hyde could be back next week. Mm-hmm. Now he's back to being a backup, so that doesn't interest me a ton. And he's not going to be able to play the Saints every week. Paul Perkins got extra carries last week, but did absolutely nothing with them, unfortunately. Even Jennings was bad, and then Perkins was every bit as bad.
I haven't looked into it too much, but I heard rumblings that Shane Vereen could come back this season too. I don't know how much validity there is to that.
Sure.
But there was a report saying it's possible, so that would muddy things even more for the Giants' backfield.
So Beach East finally has this big breakout game. Goes over 100 yards. He's got a bunch of just these killer runs, and he's just mowing down Chiefs. He's all physical. I mean, it's classic. It's classic Ivory. So
you've been waiting all year to be effusive in your praise.
I have.
Chris
I've had to wait until week 9.
It's all just bubbling over.
Okay, but wait. Of course, it can't just be that simple, right? So what does Gus Bradley do? They get down to the goal line. He gives T.J. Yeldon the ball, and of course, Yeldon gets stopped, and then they end up throwing for a touchdown. Then later in the game, they finally get back to the goal line again. They give it to Ivory. He fumbles at the stripe.
I thought he was in.
I thought he was in too.
Even after the replay, I thought.
After replay, I thought he was.
Shocked.
I thought it was a touchdown, and I was disappointed it wasn't. But still, it would have been a chance to just revalidate to Gus Bradley what a fool he is and giving T.J. Yeldon any work whatsoever. Nevertheless, a missed opportunity. But Ivory was dropped in a bunch of leagues, and I don't blame you. But, given that performance, by far the best performance they've had from a running back all year, you'd like to think that he'll be a bigger part of it.
Well, it was first game under the new coordinator, too, so that bodes well for Ivory.
That does.
I forget his name, the new coordinator, but he comes in and Ivory gets a ton of carries, so you'd have to think that's going to happen moving forward.
Last running back I want to mention, because I like to mention the running backs I love, Kenneth Dixon.
Still not giving up on him?
I'm not giving up on him quite yet, in part because Terrence West ran for 1.4 yards per carry last week.
Yeah.
And then Dixon got dinged and got knocked out of the game with a chest contusion. They play Thursday against the Browns. Could be a sneaky play right there. There are people that are going to drop West, or Dixon, or both, and this might be an opportunity for Dixon to show that he's better. I still think he is better. So here's a stunner for you. Over the past 5 weeks, nobody has more receiving touchdowns than Rashard Matthews. How about that?
That's a little stunning.
That is stunning. Nobody would have guessed that at all. And he's available in half of leagues. He's dominating the snap count. Tajay Sharp's been getting mixed in some, and Kendall Wright's getting mixed in some. But the one guy who's always on the field every play is Rashard Matthews. Now 5 touchdowns over the last 5 weeks, and listen to the next 3 battered secondaries he gets: Green Bay, Indianapolis, and Chicago. Those are all 3 plus opportunities for Rashard Matthews available on the waiver wire.
Yeah, he's not dominating in terms of catches or yards at this point, but he seems to have Marcus Mariota's eye in the red zone, and Mariota has the deal going. I don't know exactly what the stat is, but he's been lights out inside the red zone throughout his short career. He's
no interceptions
really efficient, no interceptions. Yeah, so that's
zone.
Where he's that's where Matthews is coming into play. Yeah, so if you believe that the touchdowns are going to continue, it's a little bit of a tough one because he's not getting a ton of yards and catches, so you need the touchdown. But yeah, absolutely worth a pickup if he's still available.
I'll mention this on Matthews, and then more broadly for the Titans. I mentioned how easy the schedule is for 3 weeks, so that's weeks 10, 11, and 12. But 13, 14, 15 are bye week, Denver at Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a 3-week run for your Titans. And also, more broadly, if you're an owner of DeMarco Murray, you might want to, and you're probably sitting in a pretty good spot going to the playoffs. You may want to give some extra thought to whether or not you want to try to swap him for equal value at running back. For somebody who's got an easier schedule.
Denver appears to be
you can run on Denver. Yeah, you can run on Denver.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
And Kansas City too. Beast East ran all over Kansas City. So
although
they're not
most of the year they've been a pretty good run defense. Kenny Britt was a popular pickup 3 weeks ago, And then he had the London game and didn't do anything. And then they went on bye, and he just got dropped outright in most leagues. He is available in about half of leagues. And now he faces the Jets secondary this week. So hopefully they don't go to Jared Goff. They go to Jared Goff, all bets are off.
Right.
Well, Fisher said they're only going to do that once they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Well, that's not going to be like week 14
a ringing
or 15.
endorsement. Yeah, so for your number one pick.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll put him in when it doesn't matter at all.
So Kenny Britt makes some sense. Sammy Watkins. We talked about Adrian Peterson coming off of injured reserve. I think Sammy Watkins is much more likely to be the team's choice. I think he's the obvious choice to take off injured reserve. We don't know where he is with the foot injury. We just hope that he's in a position where he can come back here and hopefully sooner than later. It's an offense in Buffalo that's just plain been a lot better since they made the change at offensive coordinator. I thought it was a mistake at the time. They made the right call. They knew what they were doing, and that Bills offense has been really pretty darn good over the past 5-6 games. And you bring Watkins back, and assuming the foot is okay, he walks into a way better offense than he left. Whatever it was, week 3 when he got knocked out.
I think there are two issues here. One is the foot, that he didn't have. It's not like he had like another procedure to fix anything. He's just been resting it. So we still don't know if he's going to be healthy. It's possible he's eligible to return in week 12. We have no idea if he actually will.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, if he does, so if he returns week 12, you can't play him that week, right? Because you have no idea how healthy he is. So now you've lost another week.
Well, yes and no. I mean, if you told me that he comes off IR and he has full practice,
maybe.
Okay, game on.
Okay, that's that. So that was going to be my point. Is that same with a lot of these guys with Peterson as well. It feels like the game that they return, we're going to have to take a wait and see approach. So now you're pushing the timetable out another week, and now you may or may not get Sammy Watkins for the final 3 weeks of your season, which. Yes, it could work out for you. So I guess I'm saying don't break the bank on these guys.
Take
a flyer, but I like Watkins better than Peterson though.
I've got a 10% blind breeding recommendation on Watson because I don't think you have to pay more than that now. But when he comes off of IR,
then he'll be popular.
It'll be a bidding war for him, right? I mean, at that point, if he were available, people are going to be bidding almost all of the rest of their money to get Sammy Watkins.
Yep.
And he doesn't have all of the danger that Adrian Peterson has. It's a much more favorable situation, to your point. Last guy I'll mention, I'll tee him up for you, Brian, Marquise Lee. Alan Hearns is hurt, got knocked out of last week's game. And if he can't return from his concussion and ankle injuries, we may see another spike in production from Lee like we did last week.
Yeah, and he's always been an outside guy, too. So it's not like he's a slot receiver moving to the outside. That's just more targets will open up for him. So, yeah, I like Lee. And I want to mention Dontrell Inman again real quick, my other guy. Travis Benjamin is cooked. He's in a lot of pain. He tried to play last week, had to keep coming out of the game. His knees being held together by duct tape at this point. And Inman has 3 straight games over 50 yards, had 9 targets. So, I mean, Travis Benjamin and Tyrell Williams should have been rostered in all leagues. And now that Benjamin's hurt, Inman should be rostered as well, in my opinion, in that offense. So,
all right, a kicker and a tight end for you to wrap it up. Cameron Brate available in 2/3 of leagues. Since Vincent Jackson went on IR, Cameron Brate has scored twice. He's been targeted 3, 5, and 6 times, which is modest volume, but it's enough that he remains viable. He's an end zone target because of his ridiculous size at 6'5", and he continues to be a goal line threat. And with Jackson out, I mean, that's one of the things Jackson could do with his big body, so I think he's a replacement there. Bucks have a mostly favorable schedule, including Chicago this week. And then another time to urge people to go get Caleb Sturgis. I'm not letting it go because he continues to be great. All he does is hit a bunch of field goals. He's a top 5 fantasy field goal. In the Charge League, he's the number 3 kicker. He's available in half of leagues, Caleb Sturgis.
Go get him. Go get him so we can stop talking about him.
That's right. Please do.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to chip in?
No.
I understand you voted.
I did. I voted today. Today was the day that you could
want
vote.
To put out
you
want to put out an endorsement for your favorite candidate?
No, that's okay.
No?
I'll hold off on that.
Nobody wants to say and admit who they voted for. Find a car with a bumper sticker, that's got Trump on it or Hillary on it. Nobody wants to admit it. Yeah. This is for the next 4 years, it's everybody denying they voted for the person who actually got the most votes. No, I didn't vote for Hillary. That wasn't me.
The best part about it is that it's just going to be over after today, and we don't have to.
Well, no, it just starts. We got 4 years of pain coming.
Well, yeah, but we don't have to deal with all the campaign BS anymore.
Well, that part, all the commercials are over. Yes. Now, one of these two people that America loathes is going to be running the country for 4 long years, unless there's an impeachment, which, frankly, in both cases is possible, unless, and I think there's a real chance of this, Obama's going to pardon Hillary.
I thought there was one safe haven from politics. I thought it'd be this
the free agent podcast.
Yeah, now here we are.
That's right. Nobody's talking about the pardon. The pardon's coming. All right. Thanks for joining us. Back tomorrow with the Panic Room. That's our game show format. Who's our reigning champion in the Panic Room?
Matt
Harrison,
yeah.
Reigning champion, and challenger is going to be you, Brian.
He's going down.
All right, we'll be looking forward to that when we return tomorrow, Wednesday, for the Panic Room. See you there.